I believe the American people should decide abortion policy. I believe that's what our Constitution designs.
Whoa, that is Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz at the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing. As you just heard, he said American voters should decide abortion policy. Amen, brother, let's do it. Polls show that 2/3 of all voters support abortion rights and that abortion should not be regulated at all in the first trimester of pregnancy. That approach, unregulated abortion access in the first trimester, was what the Supreme Court had approved of for decades until the court's Dobbs decision last year overturning Roe v. Wade. Now many states are eliminating abortions in the first trimester, even in cases of rape or incest or life of the mother. So what gives? What's the catch here with Ted Cruz? Well, Cruz is not focused on early-term abortions, even though many states are outlawing them. Cruz is looking at late-term abortions and demagoguing Democrats. Watch.
The current position of virtually every Democrat senator in this body is that abortion should be absolutely unlimited, available up until the moment of birth, and even, shockingly, in some instances, after birth. If you want to be a Democrat in the Senate, that's the position you have to embrace, because that's where the money is. That's where the activists are. That's where the angry voices are that fuel a Democrat campaign.
Actually, the anger and voices fueling Democratic campaigns are about early-term abortions, not late ones. More than 95% of all abortions are performed in the first trimester of pregnancy. Having a first trimester right taken away and being told that a pre-viability fetus is more important than the woman carrying it, that's where the Democratic activism gets fueled. Now, I think Ted Cruz knows that a strong majority of Americans support unregulated access for first-term abortions. But again, it's easier for him and Right to Lifers to focus on abortions at the end of pregnancy, because the polling is overwhelming when voters are asked the narrow question of whether late-term abortion should be totally available and unregulated.
But 90% of Americans look at that position and say, we disagree. And so you understand now why my Democrat colleagues don't want this decision decided by the voters.
Well, if the voters' decision only applied to late-term abortions, sure. But here's an idea, Ted, that I know Democrats would support. Let's put all abortions to a state-by-state vote. Let Americans vote on whether abortion should be legal and unregulated in the first trimester, then have another ballot question on the second trimester, then another on the third. And in each category, let's add a question about cases of rape, incest, and life of the mother. If America did that, here's what would happen. Abortion rights would be restored in all 50 states in nearly every scenario except the end of pregnancy. But even at the end of pregnancy, voters would approve abortion if the mother's life was at risk. That's where the polling is. Now, would Democrats agree to limits and restrictions for end-of-term abortions in exchange for abortion rights in the first trimester? You are damn right they would. And again, it's because the state restrictions on abortion mostly affect women who in many cases don't even know yet that they are pregnant. If you think my polling analysis is off, consider the ballot issue last year in Kansas. Kansas is one of America's reddest Republican pro-life states, and yet a strong majority voted last year to keep abortion rights in the Kansas state constitution. So I hope all Democrats and all Republicans will take up Senator Cruz on his proposal. Let's give all of this to the voters to decide and take it away from unelected judges. But again, if voters get to set policy for late-term pregnancies, Ted, voters also get to set policy for abortions in the first and second trimester. Deal? And on that, I'm not so sure Ted Cruz would agree, but I hope some journalist in D.C. will pin him down. By the way, when conservatives are not targeting abortion rights, they seem to be opening fire these days on cans of Bud Light beer. It's because Bud Light has shown support for LGBTQ rights, while a top Trump social media supporter in a bikini just proved the stupidity of the conservative effort. Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.